When comparing recent TV to older models, one of the biggest differences between the two is the widespread ability to read an HDR signal. How important is HDR though, and is it worth upgrading for? Unlike the upgrade from 1008 to 4K, the difference between the two has little to do with the environment the TV is watched in. The biggest factor is the picture quality of the TV itself, since HDR is actually new, more precise way to describe what the TV needs to display. HDR stands for High Dynamic Range. The term has been used for a long time now, but nowadays when talking about HDR video, it is entirely about metadata. Well, what is metadata then? HDR metadata is simply additional information sent with the video signal that tells the TV how to display the content properly. Metadata is then distributed through one of many different standards, including HDR10, HDR10+, and Dolby Vision. Although metadata is one important factor in HDR, TV also needs to be able to display the content it's being asked. Think of it this way. With SDR, a car would be ordered to apply full throttle or 50% throttle. Instead, the HDR car would be asked to go to 120 mph and go to 40 mph. Some vehicles will provide a worse experience than others working towards this task, and most might not even succeed. TV are the same. In the past, the signal will be a level of power, while on HDR, it is a specific set. This goal varies depending on the content, but in almost all cases, there are very few TV that can achieve it. This is where high-end TV really shine, as they are able to produce wider color gamuts and brighter highlights, inching ever closer to the content creator's intent. For the purpose of this test, we will compare two different TV over three scenarios: a high-end TV fed an HDR signal, the same TV being sent an SDR signal, and a mid-range HDR TV in HDR. For the SDR signal, we used an HD Fury linker and replaced the TV edit with one that had HDR support, effectively making the player think it was connected to an SD. A TV that supports a wider color gamut is capable of displaying a palette of colors with more saturation than a standard TV. While this isn't a necessity for HDR, they go hand in hand. In the past, even if a TV was capable of supporting one, almost all of the content was produced to fit into a smaller color gamut. As you can see in this comparison, there is a noticeable difference between HDR and SDR, mostly in the greens and reds, which are where most of the expansion went towards. However, you can also see that this isn't inherently a factor of HDR. There's little difference in color saturation between the SDR picture and the low-end HDR one. Since a lot of budget HDR TV lack a wide color gamut, they will see no benefit from this aspect of it. Much like color gamut, color depth refers to the different colors a TV can display. The difference between the two can be a bit confusing. Color gamut refers to the level of saturation the TV can display, while color depth refers to the number of colors the TV is capable of showing within that palette. A limited color gamut would stop a TV from displaying the red of an apple accurately, while a limitation in color depth would make the red gradients on that apple look uneven and with visible steps. What is commonly called an 8-bit TV will have 256 shades of red, green, and blue, or about 16.7 million in total. This seems like quite a small amount when compared to 10-bit TV, which would have 1,024 shades of each channel or 1.7 billion colors. Color depth affects gradients the most. A TV with a lower bit depth will have to spread it over a far smaller amount of steps. A limited bit depth can lead to blockiness and uneven gradients, which you can often see on skies like on the SDR picture above. This is one of the rare cases where the HDR-related features on the lower-end TV will find a purpose, since most of them have a 10-bit panel nowadays. Unfortunately, it's the least visually impactful one. We take a look at dynamic range. This is where HDR TV will show the biggest difference. HDR content makes use of their higher brightness capabilities to show lifelike highlights. When a TV has a limited dynamic range, it can only display highlights while crushing the dark elements, and vice versa. A TV with higher dynamic range is capable of displaying more of both at the same time. Peak brightness, contrast, as well as the quality of the tone mapping have the biggest impact on this aspect. The difference is visible on the X930D. The amount of detail resolved in the sky and the mountain in the background is better than in the other two examples, all while maintaining detail in the shadows under the cars. The difference can still seem minimal, though, and that is both because capturing it with a camera is impossible and because even the best TV of today barely scratch the surface of what HDR brings forward. We are almost wrapping up. These are the common differences between these two. Hope you like this video. Please comment, share, and subscribe to this channel for more videos.